Our top story tonight is about China's silent invasion. Here on Gravitas, we have been telling you all about how China's creeping invasion of countries it borders. Well, tonight we have satellite images that will paint the full picture of China's regional belligerence. Just have a look at these pictures on your screen. These are satellite images analyzed by New York Times. They show settlements and villages with Chinese military presence and all manners of banners and posters that will make you believe they are in China. These are villages with cookie-cutter homes and paved roads that did not exist even a few years ago. They are new. Who put them there? What explains the movement of people to these previously uninhabited villages all of a sudden? Now, if these questions came to your mind, they are completely valid, because here's the truth. Several of these new villages and settlements are not in China. They are in India, Bhutan, Tajikistan, Vietnam. In fact, China is building these villages and paying people to live there with the promise of a better life. They are what the Indian Army calls dual-use villages, meaning they serve two purposes. One, they help China falsely project power in territories it does not have right over. Number two, they can serve as defense and military base in case of conflict. Now, let's just zoom out, take a look at the world map. There is China. Then there are these civilian outposts made by China. In fact, China has reportedly built over 50 new villages across its western frontiers in recent years. According to reports, at least 12 of these villages, if not more, are in areas claimed by other countries. According to the Center for Strategic and International Studies, CSIS, which is an American think tank based in Washington, China has also established militarized facility in one such village of Mig-Yitun, or Zari in Chinese. Satellite images, in fact, show trucks and tents, as well as what appeared to be a shooting range. This is proof of the dual-use nature of these villages. And what's more, China is not done. The Xi Jinping regime is adding more houses to the 100 other villages it has built. And the idea basically is to get more people to shift more people there and give these villages a kind of permanence. And by doing this, China aims to change the status quo and falsely claim control over contested or disputed areas contested by different countries. Now, it's clear China wants to use these civilian settlements to quietly solidify China's control in far-flung frontiers. It's the same thing China is doing with fishing militias and islands in the disputed South China Sea. China says that the villages are there for security, but strategic affairs experts say that in quietly building militarized villages, China is actually replicating on land an expansionist approach that it has successfully used in the South China Sea. On land, China's operation has moved faster, it seems. In just 8 years, the country has reshaped its frontiers by building these strategic civilian outposts. And what's more, the inhabitants of these villages, they serve as the eyes and ears for the Chinese Communist regime. When it comes to India, the images reveal that China has put at least one village near every accessible Himalayan pass bordering India. It has also put villages along passes bordering Bhutan and Nepal. By the looks of it, these villages are for civilians. They have schools, clinics, houses. But you see, they also provide China's military with access to roads, access to the internet, access to power. If and when the day arrives for conflict, the Chinese army can perhaps use these villages to quickly move troops to the border. Of the new villages that were identified in Tibet, 11 settlements are in areas contested by Bhutan. Some of those 11 villages are near the Doklam region, the site of the standoff between Indian and Chinese troops in 2017. Naturally, the Chinese build-up is fueling anxiety in the entire region. These villages are concerned for the Indian army. Are the residents really civilian or are they military? Border issues between India and China have still not been resolved since 2020, when deadly clashes broke out between Indian and Chinese troops along the border. Tens of thousands of soldiers from both sides remain on war footing. China talks peace and says that it wants dialogue with India, but it continues to redraw facts on the ground by planting settlers across new stretches of Himalayas. China is making people in these villages its first line of defense, in a way. India has responded with what New Delhi calls vibrant villages. It is a campaign that aims to revive, not make, hundreds of villages along the border. The aim is to modernize the border villages of India, to improve the quality of life of the people living there, to leverage their tourism potential, to promote local, cultural, traditional knowledge and heritage through the Vibrant Villages campaign. You see, India is strengthening its security grid on the line of actual control. But while India is trying to revive the villages that have existed in these areas for thousands of years, China is making new ones with the intention of invading. Ultimately, these villages serve as propaganda for China. Every few months, China does this, where it builds a new village here, makes a new military base there, releases fake new maps with new names for places that do not belong to China. And in its arrogance, it may pretend to unilaterally change history and the reality of a region, but that does not mean it will change the facts on the ground. China will do well to know that such actions will ultimately fail. To stay up to speed with the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.